Hello and welcome to another Purveyor of Light Lightroom Quick Tip. Today we're going to go through some of my favorite tips and tricks within Lightroom. They're within no order of importance, but these are tips and things that I use within Lightroom all the time. So I figured I'd share them with you and see if they'd be helpful in your workflow. All right, so the first one here is called solo mode. Now, we all familiar with the develop module. Every time you open up one of these sections, it collapses and you do the same thing. And then before you know it, you're scrolling up and down trying to determine which section you want to work with. And I find this very disproductive. So anywhere there's a section, just go ahead and right click. And when you do that, you'll see solo mode. Okay? So if you check solo mode, now all the panels collapse and only the panel that you're working on expands. So if I went to the basic tab, only the basic tab expands and every other one closes. If I bring up the detail panel opens up, but all the other ones collapse. It's such a simple thing, but boy, is it a handy feature. I don't ever go out of solo mode myself. I love it. Okay, number 2, we're gonna do basic before and after. I find this to be very, very helpful. Okay, so if I turn around and I'm working on this photo and I want to, switch before the other, we have the basic before and after like this with the backspace key, right? But I find that it's much more useful to have the before and after side by side. So I hit the Y key instead. And now I can see a side-by-side view of my before and my after. And it can really then tell me and show me the impact of the changes that I've made, whether they're really well or conducive to the image. And I find it just such a simple thing, and just hitting the Y key takes you in and out of it. So I highly recommend it. Let's move on to number 3. Okay, number 3 is the HSL sliders. So I'm going to pick an image here. I'm going to be bouncing around images just to show the point. We'll open up this one here. Okay, so I have this here, and now I'm going to go into the HSL slider thing. And you'll notice we have 3 sections: hue, saturation, luminance. Or you could hit all, and that has them all collapse open. And I like to work this way. But you'll notice that this special little dial is under each section. Okay? These are, put your cursor where you want to adjust and then just click and slide up or down and it will adjust automatically for you. So let's look at this image here. Okay? A lot of nice fall color. And so I want to increase the saturation and maybe the oranges. And did that do anything? Yeah, it did, but is that affecting the way I want? Maybe it's the yellows. Oh, no, I'm not really certain. So this is where that dial comes in. Click this dial once, it activates, and now wherever I move my cursor, it's going to adjust the colors based on that. So I click, and now I drag up. And if you look to the right panel, you can see the sliders going up and down based on how I move my mouse. I'm using my mouse to determine the amount, and therefore I'm adjusting the fall color based on that. Okay? Isn't that incredibly cool? Very handy, very quick, especially since it's intelligent enough to sample whatever I clicked on and then adjust whatever sliders are needed to work with those colors. So the before and the after. It's just absolutely fantastic. All right, moving on to number 4. is the zoom. Okay. So many times we're working on images and we want to zoom in and we want to, get a thing on it here. So let's just take this image and go in, and I'm looking at the image and I'm going to go, I want to zoom in and I want it to, a simple short key is the letter Z. It takes me right in. And if you look over here in the viewer, wherever I click is where it's going to zoom in. Okay? And then if I hit Z again, it takes me back out. It's incredibly handy. And I find that for all the time, working. Letter Z to zoom in, and then I can click anywhere I want to look in full detail of an image. To get out of it, just hit Z again. Simple things, but boy, does it come into your everyday life. Okay, now we're going to come into adjustments, okay? We all know that if we turn around and we come in down the basic panel and then we hit auto, look at that. Lightroom turned around and totally changed the photo, and it did all kinds of adjustments. It increased the vibrance, the blacks, the whites, the shadows, the highlights. It even toned the image. But a lot of times you don't want that. A lot of times that's too heavy-handed, or it ruins your photo. And maybe you just want to change one particular item. So I'm going to go ahead and reset. Okay, so I've reset the image. And let's just say that I only want to do just the shadows. I want to just adjust the shadows. But I would like a little helping hand from Lightroom. But I only want it to do shadows only. Now you remember, if I do auto, it does everything. Okay, and I don't want that. I don't want it taking all that. I want the shadows. So here's the trick, okay? The trick is you can activate what is called single auto adjustment. That means I can say shadows, but only the shadows. Nothing else. And you do that by shift double clicking the name. So I hold the shift key down and double click the shadows, and you'll see the only thing on the panel that has been changed is the shadows. And isn't that cool? Okay, hidden feature, undocumented feature, but it's fantastic. I use it all the time when I'm editing. It lets me look at different things and go, do I really want to add shadows? Do I not want to add shadows? And then it's helpful always to see what Lightroom thinks the correct setting is. All right, so that's the single auto adjust, and you activate by shift double click. Okay, we're moving right along here. Next is going to be number 6, which is lights out. Okay, now lights out is a great feature. You've been working on this image for a long time, and you go, I'm not certain if I'm happy with it. I wish I could see it a different way, more focus on it. And the easy way to do that is to activate lights out mode. Just hit L. And you see everything dims around the image. That really helps you focus on the image. But even better, hit L again. And now it's completely lights out, and you can really concentrate on your edit. There's no other distractions on the screen right now. And that can help you really make your last minute adjustments on the image because you're concentrating only on the image. To get out of the lights mode, just hit L again, and we're back to normal. Simple, but highly effective. I use it all the time. All right, so let's go back to the library here, and I'm going to need to pick an image that will definitely, I'm going to pick this one here. Okay, so I'm in this here, and I'm going to go into the develop module, and I'm developing this, going to develop this module, and I'm looking, I'm going, oh, what do I got to do? And the most helpful thing to start out with is to see if anything is blown out or darkened to where I don't have any information. Now what that means is in an area that has no information is blown out, there is no information. And we want to avoid that in our editing. All right. So let me show you how you can quickly indicate if you have any blown out areas. All right. To do that, just simply hit the J key. There you go. It activates the highlight blowouts in red, and then the blue is the shadows, meaning the shadows in those areas have turned to complete black or nothing. So red means we have blown out the highlights where there's no information. We're beyond white, right? And the blues are telling us we've crushed the blacks. So now we could leave the indicators on, okay? And now we can just simply adjust and watch the indicators. I'm going to bring back just so I don't have any clipping there. And now I have that done for the highlights. And maybe I want to turn on the shadows. I don't want to do that. So I'm going to bring my shadows up. Maybe my blacks a little to get rid of them. There. And there we are. Okay. So I have removed my things. So I can now turn off my clipping indicators by hitting J. And I can turn them back on. But it's a great way to visually check to see if you've blown out your highlights or crushed your blacks. So again, simple thing. The letter J activates those indicators, and you'll be using them all the time when you develop photos. Okay, we're going to move on to number 8. Number 8 is going to be to toggle masks, okay? So let me pick a photo that has the mask on it here. And I apologize. I should have picked a photo ahead of time that had a mask on it. Maybe it was under people. Okay, we'll go to this one. Develop this one here. Okay, we all know about masks and that and everything, and we could paint or pre-select or whatever, and then we have masks indicating it. And if we open up our mask things, we can see, right, this image has a mask and another mask. And we're looking and we can see that the mask indicator is checked in red. So this is for the sky and this is for the subject. Now, I find going up here to turn these on and off very frustrating and a pain in the butt, to be honest. If I want to just turn around and see the mask and turn it on and off, I simply just hit the O key. And that will turn the masks on and the masks off. Okay? So just hitting O, you can see the little checkbox. It turns on, turns off. It's a simple thing, but when you're working and you don't want to break your concentration, it's a fantastic tool. Okay, so next thing. We're going to go on to what's called survey mode. Okay, so many times we're working on multiple images and we're trying to decide which one we like best. So hold the Shift key down, select the ones that you want to consider for which is the best, and then I want you to hit N. Okay, that's N as in Nancy. And now you jump into what's called survey mode. And now we could look at the 3 images and then decide which one do we like best of the version. When you've made your decision, just simply click on it, and we're now working on that image, and we move on. Such a simple thing, but it's a powerful tool. All right, moving right along, we are coming up on number 10. So, number 10, I'll just pick this one here. All right, so in develop mode, we have a crop tool, of course, and everybody's familiar with the crop tool. And by default, it comes up with the grid, okay, of, 2/3, right? And that's handy for most things, but you didn't know Lightroom has a lot more crop guides for you to consider to help you compose it. Just simply hit the letter O, and you could swap through these grid lines and choose different ways of composing your image. And sometimes that is really easy. okay? And you can go through all of the golden spirals and all the other options. Here's a grid line for the aspect ratios of how an image would look. Finer grids, and back to the default. Simple thing, but it's built in, and it really can help you when you're working on a appropriate crop. Okay, so that's going to do it for me today. Like I said, these were in no order, okay, of importance. These are just things that I enjoy and things that I use all the time, and I find them very useful. All right? All right, guys, till next week, you guys take care.